Pause for a moment and think about this. There is a version of you who had an idea, a vision, a dream that once felt real. Maybe it was something small. Maybe it was something life-changing. But at some point, you stopped. Not because you weren't capable, not because you didn't have the potential, but because something inside you let go. And now that unfinished thing, it lingers in the back of your mind, in quiet moments, in late nights when you reflect, reminding you of what could have been. Here's the truth most people avoid. Your life is not defined by what you start. It's defined by what you finish. And the gap between those two, that's where most people lose. They start with excitement, but they don't have the structure to continue. They rely on motivation, but motivation fades. They wait for the perfect moment, but it never comes. And slowly, they become people who almost did something great, but not you. Not anymore. Because today, you're going to understand the mindset, discipline, and systems that turn unfinished ideas into completed realities. Welcome to the Rich Diary podcast, where we don't just talk about growth, we live it. We document it. We build it. This is your space for clarity, discipline, and intentional success. Part 1. The true problem. Most people believe their problem is motivation. They think, if I just felt more inspired, I would do more. But that's not the real issue. The real issue is this: they don't know how to follow through. Because starting is easy. Starting is exciting. Starting gives you a dopamine rush. But finishing requires endurance. And endurance is where most people fail. The 4 pillars of follow-through. To finish what you start, you need 4 core elements: focus, self-discipline, action, and persistence. Focus gives you direction. Without it, you drift. You jump from idea to idea, never committing long enough to succeed. Self-discipline gives you control. It keeps you moving even when your emotions say stop, because your feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll feel motivated. Most days, you won't. Action is the bridge between intention and reality. Without action, nothing changes. You can think, plan, visualize, but until you act, your life stays the same. And persistence is the force that keeps everything alive. Because success is not immediate. It takes time, and only those who stay long enough win. Why you keep stopping. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't stop because things are impossible. You stop because they become uncomfortable. And your brain is wired to avoid discomfort. It wants ease. It wants pleasure. It wants safety. So when things get hard, it looks for an exit. That's why you procrastinate. That's why you distract yourself. That's why you quit. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is protecting you from effort. The illusion of motivation. Motivation is powerful, but it's temporary. It comes in waves, and if your life depends on it, you'll always be inconsistent. That's why discipline matters more. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it tells you what to do. And when you rely on discipline, you remove emotion from execution. The start-stop cycle. Most people live in a loop. They start something new, they feel excited, they make progress, then things slow down. They lose interest, they stop. Then they feel guilty, so they start something else, and the cycle repeats. This is not growth. This is motion without progress. So the question becomes, how do you break this cycle? How do you become someone who finishes? Small wins create momentum. You don't need to change your entire life overnight.
You need to build momentum. And momentum comes from small wins, not massive actions. Small, consistent steps. Because every time you complete something, you reinforce your identity. You become someone who finishes. Your environment controls you more than you realize. If your environment is full of distractions, you will struggle to focus. If your environment encourages comfort, you will avoid effort. So instead of fighting your environment, change it. Remove what distracts you. Add what supports you. Make success easier and failure harder. Reflections. Right now, you don't need more information. You need a decision. A decision to stop quitting. A decision to follow through. A decision to become disciplined. Because everything you want is on the other side of consistency. If this message is hitting you, don't just listen, apply it. Choose one thing and commit to finishing it. And if you're serious about growth, follow the Rich Diary podcast, because this is where transformation begins. This is not just a podcast. This is your turning point. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and most importantly, finish what you start. This is the Rich Diary podcast.
Breaking self-sabotage, procrastination, overthinking, and distractions. In the last part, you began to see the truth, that starting is not your problem, finishing is. And more importantly, you realized that the real battle is not external, it's internal. Because the biggest obstacles in your life are not outside of you. They are patterns within you, habits, thoughts, decisions you repeat daily without even noticing. And in this part, we're going deeper. We're exposing the silent forces that are quietly holding you back. The invisible enemy, self-sabotage. Self-sabotage doesn't look obvious. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't say, "I'm here to ruin your progress." Instead, it disguises itself as comfort, as delay, as "I'll do it later," as "I need more time," as "I'm not ready yet." And because it feels reasonable, you accept it. But every time you delay, every time you avoid, every time you choose comfort over effort, you reinforce a dangerous identity, an identity of someone who does not follow through. And the longer you stay in that pattern, the harder it becomes to break. Procrastination, the real truth. Let's be clear. Procrastination is not laziness. It's something deeper. It's a conflict between your present self and your future self. Your future self has goals, wants success, growth, achievement. But your present self wants comfort, ease, entertainment, relief. And in most cases, your present self wins, because your brain is wired for immediate reward, not long-term success. So when you face a difficult task, your brain searches for something easier, something more enjoyable. And just like that, you delay again and again and again, until delay becomes your default behavior. Why you keep delaying? Think about the last time you procrastinated. You didn't just sit there doing nothing. You did something else. You checked your phone, watched a video, scrolled endlessly, told yourself you were taking a break. But deep down, you knew. You were avoiding effort, avoiding discomfort, avoiding the challenge. Because starting feels heavy, it feels uncertain, and your brain doesn't like uncertainty, so it pushes you toward what feels safe. But here's the cost. Every time you delay, you make the task harder. You increase pressure, you create stress, and eventually you either rush through it or abandon it completely. How to break procrastination? The solution is not to force yourself harder, it's to reduce resistance.
Make starting easier. Not perfect, not ideal, just easier. Tell yourself, I'll just do this for 5 minutes. That's it. No pressure, no expectations. Because once you start, something powerful happens. Momentum begins, and momentum is stronger than motivation. Another strategy is pairing effort with reward. Do something difficult while adding something enjoyable. Music, a calm environment, a reward afterward. This shifts your brain's association from pain to possibility.
Overthinking, the silent paralysis. Now let's talk about another hidden trap: overthinking. Overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're analyzing, planning, preparing. But in reality, you're stuck. Because thinking without action is just delay in disguise. You convince yourself, I need more clarity. I need a better plan. I need to be ready. But clarity does not come before action. It comes from action. Every step you take reveals the next one. But if you never take the first step, you remain stuck in confusion. The perfectionism trap. Perfectionism is one of the most dangerous forms of self-sabotage because it sounds positive. It sounds like excellence, high standards, quality. But underneath, it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. So instead of risking imperfection, you delay. You polish endlessly. You wait for the right time. And that time never comes. Meanwhile, people who are less perfect but more consistent move ahead because they act. Distractions, the modern-day enemy. We live in a world designed to steal your attention. Notifications, messages, endless content, everything competing for your focus. And every time you give in, you weaken your ability to concentrate. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. The more you ignore it, the weaker it gets. And without focus, you cannot follow through. You cannot finish because your attention is constantly shifting. Reclaiming your focus. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. Start by removing what interrupts you. Silence notifications. Create a space where you can work without interruption, even if it's just for 1 hour. Protect that time, because deep focus is where real progress happens. And when you begin to experience that level of focus, you'll realize something powerful. You're capable of more than you thought. Environment over willpower. Most people rely on willpower. They say, I'll try harder, I'll be more disciplined. But willpower is limited. It runs out. Instead, design your environment. Make good behavior easy. Make bad behavior difficult. If distractions are far away, you're less likely to engage with them. If your tools are ready, you're more likely to start. Your environment is not neutral. It's either helping you or holding you back. Reflections. Take a moment and be honest with yourself. Where are you sabotaging your own progress? Is it procrastination, overthinking, distractions, perfectionism? You don't need to fix everything at once. Just identify one, because awareness is the first step to change. Now, here's your challenge. Pick one habit that's been holding you back and interrupt it today. Not tomorrow, not later, today. And if you're committed to becoming more disciplined, more focused, more intentional, follow the Rich Diary podcast, because this is where your transformation is documented. You are not stuck. You are not incapable. You are simply repeating patterns that no longer serve you. Break the pattern and you change your life. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep showing up. This is the Rich Diary podcast. Part 3. Building drive, motivation, discipline, and relentless consistency. Up to this point, you've uncovered something powerful. You've seen the patterns, the procrastination, the overthinking, the distractions, and more importantly, you've realized something deeper. You are not lacking potential, you are lacking consistency. Because success is not about what you do once, it's about what you do repeatedly. And now, we move into the next level. Because awareness alone is not enough. You need fuel. You need structure. You need something that keeps you going even when you don't feel like it. The truth about motivation. Motivation feels powerful. It gives you energy, excitement, a sense of possibility. But here's the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days you don't even want to begin. And if your progress depends on how you feel, you will always be inconsistent because feelings change daily, hourly, sometimes even moment to moment. That's why relying on motivation alone is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Internal versus external drive. There are two types of motivation, external and internal. External motivation comes from outside, rewards, deadlines, pressure, recognition. It works, but only temporarily. Once the reward disappears, so does the effort. Internal motivation is different. It comes from within, from purpose, identity, meaning. It's the quiet voice that says, "This matters," even when no one is watching, even when there's no reward. And this type of motivation is what sustains long-term success. Connecting to your why. If you want to stay consistent, you need a strong reason, not a surface-level reason, not something vague, but something real, something emotional, something that moves you. Because when your why is weak, quitting becomes easy. But when your why is strong, you find a way to continue, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when progress is slow. So ask yourself, why does this matter to me? What will happen if I succeed? What will happen if I don't? Sit with those questions, because your answers will shape your actions. Discipline is the real game changer. Motivation might start the journey, but discipline finishes it. Discipline is not about intensity, it's about consistency. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because discipline removes negotiation. There's no debate, no delay, no "I'll do it later." You just act. And the more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes, because it becomes part of who you are. Building daily structure. Consistency does not happen by accident. It is built through structure, through routine, through intentional planning. When you wake up without a plan, you react, you drift, you follow whatever feels easiest. But when you have structure, you move with purpose. You know what needs to be done, and you do it, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not easy. Because structure reduces decision-making, and fewer decisions mean fewer mental resistance. The power of accountability. There's something powerful about being accountable. When you know someone is watching, you show up differently. You push harder. You stay committed because you don't want to disappoint. And this is not weakness, it's strategy. Accountability creates pressure, and pressure, when used correctly, creates performance. So don't try to do everything alone. Find someone, a friend, a mentor, a partner, someone who checks in, someone who challenges you, someone who reminds you of what you said you would do.
Rewards and consequences. Your behavior is shaped by outcomes. If something feels good, you repeat it. If something feels bad, you avoid it. So use this to your advantage. Create rewards for progress, even small ones. A break, something enjoyable, a moment to acknowledge effort. At the same time, create consequences. If you don't follow through, there should be a cost. Because without consequences, there is no urgency. And without urgency, there is delay. Opportunity cost, the hidden price. Every decision you make comes at a cost. When you choose comfort, you sacrifice growth. When you choose distraction, you sacrifice progress. When you choose to delay, you sacrifice time. And time is the one thing you can never get back. So every moment matters. Every choice matters. Because your life is built on what you consistently choose. Becoming someone who finishes. At some point, this stops being about goals, and it becomes about identity. You are not just trying to finish tasks, you are becoming someone who finishes, someone who follows through, someone who keeps their word to themselves. And once that identity is built, everything changes. Because you no longer rely on motivation, you rely on who you are. Reflection. Take a moment and look at your life. Are you waiting for motivation, or are you building discipline? Are your actions consistent or dependent on how you feel? Because the difference between where you are and where you want to be is not luck, it's consistency. Now here's your next step. Define your why. Write it down, make it real, and commit to showing up regardless of how you feel. And if you're serious about becoming disciplined, focused, and intentional, follow the Rich Diary podcast, because this is where growth becomes a lifestyle. Motivation may start the journey, but discipline writes the story. So stay committed, stay consistent, and keep showing up. This is the Rich Diary podcast.
Up to this point, you've done something most people never do. You've looked inward. You've faced the truth about your habits, your patterns, your inconsistencies. You've understood motivation and why it fails. You've seen the power of discipline and why it matters. But now, we arrive at the most important level, because knowing is not enough. Even discipline is not enough on its own. You need something stronger, something more reliable. You need systems, because systems are what carry you when everything else fades. Systems versus goals. Most people are obsessed with goals. They set them, they visualize them, they talk about them, but goals alone don't create results, because a goal tells you where you want to go, but it doesn't tell you how you'll get there. That's where systems come in. Systems are the daily actions, the routines, the processes, the structure you follow, whether you feel like it or not. And here's the shift that changes everything. Stop focusing only on outcomes and start focusing on the process. Because when your system is strong, results become inevitable. Building your execution system. Execution is not about intensity. It's about repeatability. It's about doing the same important actions over and over again, even when it's boring, even when it feels small, because small actions done consistently create massive results over time. So simplify your system, make it clear, make it realistic, make it something you can follow daily, not something that looks impressive, but something that actually works, because consistency beats complexity every single time. The power of daily non-negotiables. If everything is optional, nothing gets done. That's why you need non-negotiables, actions that happen no matter what, not based on mood, not based on energy, but based on commitment. These are the anchors of your day, the habits that define your progress. Even if you do nothing else, these must be done because they keep you moving forward, even on your worst days. Mental toughness. There will be days when you don't feel like continuing, days when you feel tired, frustrated, doubtful, days when quitting feels easier, and in those moments, your mindset is tested. Mental toughness is not about being perfect, it's about continuing anyway. It's about doing what needs to be done despite how you feel, because feelings are temporary, but your decisions shape your future. Embracing discomfort. Growth is uncomfortable. There is no way around it. Every time you push yourself, you will feel resistance. That resistance is a sign that you are stepping outside your comfort zone, and your comfort zone is where progress stops. So instead of avoiding discomfort, learn to lean into it, because everything you want exists on the other side of it. Long-term consistency. Success is not built in days or weeks or even months. It is built over time through repeated effort, through showing up again and again, even when results are slow, even when no one notices, because consistency compounds, and over time, what once felt small becomes significant. Identity, the final shift.
At the highest level, this is no longer about tasks or habits or even goals. It's about identity. You are not trying to finish something. You are becoming someone who finishes, someone who follows through, someone who keeps their word to themselves. And when that identity is built, everything changes because you no longer rely on effort alone. You rely on who you are. Take a moment and think about your journey, not just what you've started, but what you've finished, because that is your real story. And the question now is simple. Who do you want to become? Someone who starts and stops, or someone who follows through no matter what? Because the choice is yours. If this message has impacted you, then don't let it end here. Take action. Choose one thing and commit to finishing it. And if you're ready to build discipline, structure, and a life of intentional growth, follow the Rich Diary podcast, because this is more than content. This is transformation. Your life is not defined by your ideas or your intentions or your plans. It is defined by your execution. So stay focused, stay disciplined, and most importantly, finish what you start. This is the Rich Diary podcast, and your story is still being written.